Hello, Leo. It's Angela. How are you? We are going to do a soul guidance reading for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for July 2022. Okay. And you know, I say it every time, but if it's not July and you're not a Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, maybe you're Leo's and Venus, or some other aspect of your chart that you want to tap into. That's fine. And maybe you just saw this title and thought, oh, I want to learn more about that. And that's okay too. But for the most part, when I'm calling in the cards and bringing in the energy, it is the energy of Leo. And it is for this current time, which is July 2022. But the guidance is eternal. It's evergreen. It doesn't ever go away. And we can always tap into it. So these are soul guidance readings. They're intuitively read. They are tapping into aspects of ourselves within us that we can highlight, engage with, transform, and grow from and heal from. Okay, so the oracles that we're using this time are from this Goddess Love deck. Just a beautifully illustrated deck. If anybody has this, Wendy Andrew is the creator of this deck, and it's just amazing. The card that I pulled for you, Leo, is realignment. Feel the ebb and flow of your life. I love it. When we're caught up in turmoil or other people's vibrations or somebody else's expectations of us, you know, or even deadline oriented projects, we're caught up in that energy. We're caught up in this. We're you know, there's a lot of resistance in that kind of energy because it's not really aligned with our natural flow all the time. Sometimes it's necessary, right? It's necessary to achieve our projects and to push through to the deadline and get it done and, you know, resolve problems with others. We have to fight through sometimes, but it throws us out of our alignment. And the recognition of that, to really see, you know, the point that that happens, and then to be able to breathe it through and say, okay, let me find my natural flow again, because, you know, this is talking about in water being the natural flow. And it's a lot of ocean themed imagery where this goddess is, you know, finding the divine timing that's present in the water. Which, you know, if you ever watch the waves, you know, the natural flow of any water, really, even draining down a bathtub, there's, you know, it's pure movement. It's purity of movement. And that's what we're asking. That's what the guidance is here for you, Leo, is to find that purity of movement, that it's always there. It's just that sometimes when we're in resistance mode or in human persona achievement mode, we lose track of that purity and that flow. And this reading, hopefully, will guide us back to it. All right, let's see what the Zen cards say. All right, so we have here your starting point, your starting position, internal energies that support that, and the external manifestation of it, the key to moving forward, and then having moved forward, your landing spot, internal and external, or sort of like this sometimes is the overview of the whole reading. Okay, so your starting point, Leo, look at that. Oh boy, postponement, disappointment in not achieving my goals in the timing that I want to. Vulnerability in that I'm not where I want to be in life, and it makes me feel insecure and vulnerable. Sadness and worry that I won't get to where I want to go in the timing that I want to get there, right? Okay, so we understand that. We all go through that. We all have those thoughts and feelings inside. But this, just the attention to the fact that we're far from our goal is holding us back from the goal. It's keeping you, it's almost like the acknowledgement of the postponement is keeping it postponed. I know it's not like energetically, that's what happens. Now, physically, in our persona, in our waking world, there's things that come up that postpone what we want. There's factors that get put in our way that, keep us, keep our progress. It slows our progress toward our goals. But this is energetic. So the thing is yeah, things may come jump in your way in your waking world that stall your progress toward your goals. But the perception of it, that spiritual component of it, and the way you perceive it, if you're also kind of saying, oh yeah, here comes that block again, never going to get there, then guess what? You'll never get there. You won't. So yes, things physically happen in our world to put things off and keep us from our goal. But if we're also believing that it's never going to come, we're adding to that postponement. That's all that I was trying to get at. And I think that if you're doing this work, if you've been doing some personal and spiritual work, tapping into, your fullest sense of self and really getting to know that, and you're here at this channel, so I know you're doing the work. You know this already, right? You know this, you get in your own way. So here we are, we're going to learn to energetically sort of drop those blocks. Yes, sometimes in life we get our dreams get pushed off to the side or pushed, get postponed a little bit. And it's also true that we can still achieve those dreams. Okay. All right. Let's see what the rest of the cards say. Internally, the energy that's in support of or beneath this postponement vibe is turning in. So there it is. Your inner being is really driving this whole thing. It's driving, how long will these roadblocks last there? Well, once you tap into your inner being and envision the flow of what you want, envision that goal again, and see it happen in your mind's eye and really feel into the flow of it, then you start to make progress. Here's another water image too. This turning in card is more water. This is also depicted by, it's a water card. So it's like the cups in traditional tarot. It's an emotion card, but your inner being knows. Your inner being can sort of check out of life for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes a day and re-engage with that flow of life that's waiting there for you to feel into. That will help keep this postponement vibe to a minimum. Just by tuning in, being sure you're aware of where you're headed and not how you're going to get there and exactly how long it'll take, but just the fact that you're headed there, that you see it, you feel it, you know it. That's the work you do inside, right? You align it, you get it, you get it down so pat that nothing's going to shake you off of your course. The timing is sometimes up to external circumstances, but the goal and the dedication and the vision and the focus and the flow, that's all for you to determine. And how much you're flowing is totally up to you too. And that's why we're here with this guidance. The divine is asking you to step off of that grind and realign with the flow for a minute and get the feeling of where your momentum is, right? Then jump back on the track. Okay. In the external position, outside of this postponement and turning in. So the combination of this, the combination of realizing, sometimes things get postponed, but I can also be standing in my way of this if I dwell on it too much. And then tuning in to what's flowing, what's real, what's creating within you, what you feels best to go toward. And then the result of that, or the way it manifests, is in a slowing down. There's this deliberate momentum. So it's a momentum and it's going forward and it's going toward your goal, but you're not rushing. You're aligned. You're paying attention to what your inner guide says. You're paying attention to the divine signs and the flow that the universe presents for you. And now you're cooking. Because you even have postponement still on board, but you're moving deliberately and authentically. And that's a recipe for success, for sure. Okay. All right, let's go back down for a second. This card here, this is your key. That's your pivot to getting yourself up here to this new level of consciousness. And that card is the past lives card. So this is going to ask you to call to attention old patterns, old ways of processing some of these challenges. When the postponement comes, what do I resort to? When the block gets set in my path, what are those same words and thoughts and mental chatter that come up for me? You know, when a block comes in my path, who do I always blame? Or what do I always blame? Right? What is my pattern here? Because that, once it's dropped, once you can really become aware of your triggered patterns, you know, when you come upon some frustration, some resistance that isn't in the divine flow of life, which is going to happen to us. It happens daily. It's part of living, right? Those resistances come. But when they come, if you can be the observer in your experience and kind of go, oh, I'm reacting this way. I'm shutting down when that block comes, or I'm resisting and pushing harder and not really staying aligned with the flow that's present. I'm pushing past that because I want to get it done. What are your patterns? Because calling attention to it, and then even just having the willingness to acknowledge it, even if you can't help yourself, even if it's like, I have to push through this, I have to force it through, it's just how in my nature. But if you're at the same time kind of going, okay, I'm watching myself do this, you know, let me make a note of it. Maybe next time I can back off a little bit and not push so hard, right? This is just asking you to call attention to those patterns. If you have what it takes to transform them and drop some of them from your experience, the ones that are especially resistant and time consuming, those patterns that delay even more, if you can drop them altogether, great, because then you'll thrust forward into your next level. But if you can at least call awareness to it and kind of go, oh yeah, I do that. I did that again, right? Then you start to sort of massage your way into a new way of being, and you're more in the divine flow that way. It's just going to take practice and acknowledgement. That's it. We're not asking for perfection or sudden change and complete transformation in a week. You know, it's really not feasible. It's not possible. And even if you achieve that, the chances of holding it, you know, and maintaining it are low because you thrust yourself into it. So just be aware, find where your patterns are, find those places that maybe those little self-talk sessions that you have with yourself that tells you, you know, you're incompetent and how could I have even dreamed this up? Why did I even think I could have this dream? You know, whatever, you know, quiet that a little bit. And then we'll see where you land next, right? Okay, so then the landing point next, I love it so much. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so here we were, this is the line I'm looking at here now. So we had this postponement vibe. We're asking ourselves to call attention to where we resist, to how we respond to these blocks, and how that may hold us in place and keep us farther from our goal or from our flow. And then the outcome or the achievement in just being able to be aware of these patterns we have is literally going with the flow. I mean, I'm not sure how much more we need, right? How much more of a message we need here. It's all about the flow of the water. It's all about that water vibe. And, you know, the mental vibe is great. And the, you know, sometimes patterns are good for us because they keep us feeling secure, right? We know what to expect, but sometimes they're detrimental and they hold us in place. And once you start to realize that, you've unlocked the flow. It may be a trickle at first, but it's a flow. Okay. And the forward movement will be felt internally and within you. You have a strong sense here that you may be going against the expectations of others, or even your own internal expectations. Because your expectations, remember, are kind of like going hand in hand with these patterns, these reactions. You know, this is how I should handle it, right? And when you don't handle it that way, and when you kind of go, oh, well, I'm going to wait a little bit, I'm going to not fight through this frustration, I'm going to actually change the subject, let that roadblock be there, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm going to focus on what I eventually want to achieve. I'm going to skip over all this frustration right now. I'm going to only feel how good it feels to have achieved it. That your inner being's probably going, oh, wait a minute, you know, where's the fight? Where's the push through, right? That's old news. That's old expectation, old patterning that you've created for yourself as a template to move through your life. But as you start to elevate and, you know, move into a higher level of consciousness, sorry, I dropped a card, move into a higher level of awareness, you realize, oh no, there is flow happening here without my input. Like, I don't even have to assert myself in some situations, and it will just work itself out, right? You start to get this, the more and more enlightened you are. And so I feel that the more flow you feel, the more inside you're going to be aware of, oh, wow, I was really hard on myself. I really set myself up for struggle when the flow was waiting for me to just kind of jump in and swim with it, right? So that's a great awareness level there. And then the outcome, or the final card, or the manifestation of all this work, is the consciousness card. And I mean, here you go. You're up leveling every time. Level up, level up, level up. Every time you go through this reminder, oh, you know, I've got a block. What's the divine flow here? Let me realign. Let me figure this out. Let me feel it through. I can react, but I don't have to react in the old ways, right? I can just sort of assert myself a little bit and then let it play itself out. Go with that flow. And pretty soon you're sitting there going, oh, my intuition and my inner being and my higher self, they really can carry me far. I can move into new spaces of awareness and into new experiences. And even, you know, interacting with others becomes easier because you're in your flow. Love this so much. I need to take a snapshot of this one and apply it. I love this very much for you guys, for us too. I'm a Leo too. You know, I say it every time. I can't help it. You know how we are. Beautiful though. Yeah. Allow for some of that water in your experience, and that movement that's natural, that's calling you. Allow for that, and you can't go wrong. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm really appreciative of this space. And, you know, there's just a few of us here right now, but I love it. I feel like the receptivity's there, and we're creating something really great. So stick with it. Give me some likes and shares, and do all those things that YouTube needs us to do so that the algorithm kicks in. I'm not sure, but stick with it, because the messages will keep coming from me. Okay. Love you guys.